Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music, and today, Gizmo Sunday, I've got Fracture Sounds, Emotive Woodwinds Soloists, a lovely collective library of flute, oboe, cor anglaise, or as we say here in California, English horn, clarinet, bassoon, a little bonus piccolo, which is super useful, I guess, although not as extensive as the rest of them, and then all these additional articulations of those same instruments. Well, if you're familiar with previous solo instruments from Fracture Sounds, like the soft strings or the brass soloists, this GUI will be very familiar. It's playable, sounds very, very good. Let's listen and take a look at it. I was a clarinet player in grammar school, right? So I have a real affection for the sound of a woodwind. Now, this flute, which is the only woodwind instrument that I still play, still practice, is just lovely. So we've got a legato patch, and I've got dynamics and color on just CC1. This GUI should be familiar to you if you've seen any of my previous reviews of the Fracture Sound solo instruments or have any of them yourself. Each of these square boxes is a separate articulation. The legato is a particularly deep sampled and beautifully managed articulation, and one which I might go to every time first to try to make things work. And the legato settings have some particular power. I'm in smart legato mode right now, which includes the ability to control how much latency is built into it, how much extra juicy qualities are put into the legato sound. For instance, if I set this at, I guess I could go all the way up to 260, there's quite a bit of, or 300, quite a bit of performing latency. Like I have to pretend I'm playing a church organ and just keep going. There's a lot of time between playing the note. If I want to perform and keep it sharp, I can keep that latency down. It also clips off some of the juicy qualities in the legato. However, here's the amazing thing. That latency amount, which is consistent right across the board, can then be set as an offset in your DAW, which means you can perform at a low latency, turn it up, set the offset, and you'll be in time. Now that's just killer great. You can also delay all your continuous controller data in order to make everything be expressive and behave exactly as you hoped. That's fantastic. All these instruments are stereo sampled, and here we can see where they are in the stereo sound field. And I also have custom positions that I could choose based on, I think, impulse response settings and then just plonk. We can set a center stereo and do that. Now, talking a little bit more about the sound field, over here we have the mic setups, and they're all on right now, including a mid setup. Maybe the most interesting thing about this, let's change the perspective to close. And then much further away. This is just balancing the mics. And this is a really effective, just easy to control approach. I'm highly in favor of that. Another thing, and I just wish everybody would do this, make it super easy to change where the key switches are. Right now, I'm on C0, and that's the lowest C on my keyboard. And as I go up the key, a lot of people haven't got keyboards that are this big. But especially with woodwinds, you've got a lot of optional range here. So I could, if I wished, take my key switch range up to a different C or D or whatever it is that I want. Now, that's pretty useful. Just make sure you remember what you did. right? Super easy to do that. And I just wish everybody would do that. I just wish everybody would do that. Well, you've heard the legato sustain. You get a couple of notes, right? Really pretty. And this sustain sound is kind of lovely. Let's go over here to the legato again, because I want to point out something I forgot to mention. There's a note here. You see that G? Well, if I hold that down, I'm going to play a simple note. Now, if I hold that G down, I get a slower attack. It's so useful. And by the same token, I'll start this A and then have a slower release. This is really expressive and makes for a really powerful way to perform. We also have a full-on slow sustain, and then this, very powerful trill engine. Okay, so this trill engine kills me. So if I play a single note, I get a single note. But if I play a half step, 2 notes at once, I get a half step trill. If I play 2 notes at once, a whole step, minor third. The harder I hit, the faster the trill onset is, and then major third. Neat, right? That's a great trill engine. Other things we have that are useful include staccatos, and of course, the staccato volume is controlled by velocity, as are the tenutos, short and long. And then this kind of lovely performance shorts, which goes back to having the volume controlled with CC1, because if I hit the key gently, I get a short note and then a short tenuto, a little bit louder, and then a long tenuto as I strike the key harder. So I've got a variety of performance options within my velocity settings, and then volume is controlled by the slider, right? Smart programming, really expressive. Let's listen to the oboe, the double reeds, the oboes, and the English horns. All those same articulations, right? All the same level of control. I just performed that with the latency set at 150 milliseconds, and I just had to kind of keep charging through the performance, but I didn't hear any hiccups in the legato, and it felt really organic to me. This is going to be a pretty useful instrument. Love that oboe sound, but if you like oboe, you might like English horn even more. It's kind of the longer, bigger brother kind of sound, and it's got a thicker tone. Reminiscent of the upper register of a bassoon. Maybe we'll put that far away. That's film score heaven. The clarinet is a lovely, sort of well-recorded, chummy, friendly clarinet sound. I'm a big fan of this. And I'm going to assign the color control, this knob here, to CC1. The staccato is hecka fun. The lower register of a clarinet always makes me happy. let's go to the upper register. One might wish for perhaps a tiny bit of control over vibrato, or maybe more I don't know. I'm wishing for a little vibrato. I'll confess that. Well, bassoon is the clown of the orchestra, is what we like to say. I think that's from Rimsky-Korsakov. It might be somebody else. And I guess we could say staccato is maybe the thing that really shows that off the most. I'm going to take the latency down so I can really actually perform it. I wonder if they sampled 2 bassoons for this. Wow, I don't remember what the lowest note. I feel like that's a contrabassoon register. I could be wrong. Let's go to the legato. That lovely theme from Rite of Spring is played very high on a bassoon. Right? And up in the register, it's awfully beautiful. We've got trills here as well. Great drama effect, isn't it? I love it. Let's take a look at the piccolo, which they say is a bonus instrument. And there's something kind of cool over here. Performance shorts right here, and a soft note will get me a staccato note, and then a harder strike, a long tone. That's pretty nice. Now, they've also given us 8VA samples, which means I'll get an octave, right? You get the low tone and the high one. You hear that? It's particularly noticeable in staccatos. That's great. Doublings are crucial in woodwind writing, as I'm sure you're aware, and octaves the way to go. Let's go and take a look at some of these additional articulations, maybe just the flutes, because I suspect they'll be similar right across the board, and we don't want to take too much time with this stuff. Well, we've got just a single trill on one note, a nice short one. That might be useful, huh? Can you imagine? And then we also have these shorts, the sustained and sort of staccato, legato sound. Now, this is great for just kind of dumping something in. And then. So you can play a phrase that makes sense. And I'm glad they included some swells. Let's hear. Oh, that's really natural and beautiful. Yeah, really elegant, and I'm quite grateful for that. Well, I think maybe now I have to try some of the other bonus articulations. Swells on oboe. That's nice. I wish they would sustain at the end. Yeah, they sort of fade away to nothing. English horn. Same deal. Yep, just the same trills and things. And we have additional articulations for bassoon. I like the performed quick trills. Long trill on a second. Yeah, that's nice. And I don't know if it's much better than the program trill that we have available to us, but certainly grateful. And then here's our clarinet. And we've got the same sets of things. Minor second trill, short, major. You want to use a scale-based trill when you're doing a note above your target note in a trill. Well, what I loved about the soft brass and the soft, whatever they call it. I think it's something like that. And the string soloists with this very expressive user interface, the ability to control the latency track at a tight latency and then expand it outwards and offset the track by a predictable, steady amount that can then lock everything in is in the Emotive Woodwind Soloists library. And these are beautifully recorded. I might have wished for perhaps some control over vibrato. Now, the opinions differ about this. Different composers and different arrangers are going to have different opinions about vibrato. So I might be talking out of my hat, as we like to say. What's next from Fracture Sounds? Can we anticipate a saxophone library in a similar vein? Let's hope so. Well, look, I hope this has been useful. Like and subscribe. Ding the bell to be notified when I do my videos. I'll see you next time.